This is Hannibal here from thehannibaltv.com with a daily wrestling news update. Something very interesting here, but you have to consider that according to Sportskeeda, the Undertaker makes 2.5 million a year under his WWE Legends contract, which probably pays him so much despite rarely appearing to keep him from signing with a company like AEW. Not that he necessarily would, but you never know. You can't refuse certain offers. So that's a lot of money. Plus he does those dead man shows. Plus I guess he now has a subscription only podcast. And on this podcast, he kind of changed his tune about what he said on Joe Rogan a few years ago, that WWE wrestlers are softer now, which of course they're softer. They don't have to pay any dues, and many are paid for their training. But I'm not going to quote the whole thing, but here's a big quote from what he said on his podcast. Quote, "It's amazing now all the protocols that are in place. We're treated today like NFL players, NBA players, Major League Baseball guys. There's a list of protocols that you have to clear once you get injured before you get back in the ring. Back in the day, we didn't have trainers that traveled with us. If someone had a roll of white athletic tape, that was the trainer because he had something that you could possibly use. Nowadays, we have 2 or 3 trainers that travel. We have doctors that travel, concussion protocols." I have to be honest, for me, it was hard to accept that at first because it was, man, everything is getting soft now. I appreciated that badge of honor, as silly as it sounds. It was hard for me to accept that. Man, our business is getting soft. It wasn't getting soft, it was getting smarter. So there you go. I mean, the main reason I do agree that yes, it is safer now, but the type of people that were wrestlers back in the glory days, and even the mystique that wrestlers had, was like they were the toughest of the tough people you really would never want to mess with. And just all of these public concussion protocols, and people now, they get paid to train. They don't really have to pay any dues. And when they start training, they train with helmets and stuff on. Where back in the old days, even me training in the dungeon, you got beat up by the veterans for probably your first year or two, and you had to kind of show that you really wanted it to be a wrestler. Now you don't really have to prove that you want to be a wrestler in the WWE. I've never wrestled anywhere that's had trainers in the back. Some days we've been lucky and had some first aid people in the back, but more times than not, you're either sitting in the hospital 12 hours before you're looked at after a show, if you're in Canada here with our medical system, or you're going to the drugstore and doing yourself up afterwards. So I've never experienced the trainers in the back. That's obviously a good thing. But there's definitely still some tough wrestlers. They definitely have it easier now. And you don't have to be as tough because you don't wrestle as much. And if you get hurt, you don't have to continue wrestling, for better or worse. In other wrestling news, there's going to be no men's title matches at Survivor Series, with Roman Reigns not doing the show. He's on a vacation until January. Apparently, WWE believes that NXT is going to outdraw Dynamite's ratings consistently once they get on the CW network. They believe that AEW's product is cold right now, with live event sales, with a few exceptions, being significantly down in the past few years. Apparently, more WWE cuts are on their way, particularly in The Office, according to the Wrestling Observer. I'll be back later with more news. I wish everyone a wonderful week.
Thank you for watching the Hannibal TV. Please like this video if you enjoyed it, and click the subscribe button to not miss any of our latest shoot interviews, match videos,